Souls, hope you're all doing well. I wanted to just drop in to talk about the activation meditations that I'm doing on the 12th of the 12th and the 21st of the 12th, and really why I'm doing it. And I guess for the last 6 months, it's been like a jigsaw puzzle for me. There's been little things being presented to me, and on their own, they wouldn't necessarily make sense. However, they're starting to come together. And I will say this still doesn't make sense. And I believe that none of us individually will know the whole story. It's like a jigsaw puzzle of life, really. And I believe that we're all here as a jigsaw puzzle piece in our own unique way, that once we acknowledge that and accept that in its shapes and its curves, its colors, we are able to put this community, this collection of jigsaw puzzle pieces to create the bigger picture. And like I say, we don't necessarily see it just on our own. And it's a collaboration, it's a collective of people that come together. And when we acknowledge our gifts, we acknowledge our talents and what we're here to share, and we break free from the fear of persecution, the fear of being different, and to fit in within the socially accepted ways of being, which is really quite a primitive part of us. It's the autonomic nervous system, it's the primitive mind that needs to feel safe, to feel part of a collective, because ultimately, thousands of years ago, if we got kicked out, we weren't safe. We needed our tribe. So there is a part of us, and I'm certainly, from me coming more into this video, into this talk, and to you right now, it's about really fully acknowledging who you are and not fearing what you have to offer. And so I wanted to go into the journey a little bit of why I'm doing these portal meditations. It's really been guided to me to do. It's been shown to me the 12th, the 12th, and 21st, the 12th as very, very key energetic dates. And the beginning part of this really started when I went to Sardinia back in June, where I had this really beautiful experience of beginning to really channel and feel the earth within my body. And I could really feel the energy of what Sardinia, who she is, in my hara, and I could feel the energy of that. And it went to really Atlantean energy, because actually, interestingly, the mountains that surround it aren't volcanic, which is what would be expected. There are actually mountains themselves. So from that, I was channeling and drawing sacred shapes into the sand. And I didn't know what I was doing. It was just something that was just coming through me. And actually, it turns out that the shape that I was drawing was what they called the seed of the dead, which is linked to Persephone. And if I wasn't really much aware of the Greek mythology, but the essence of it is that she's the maiden energy. She's this fertile energy of the female, and she got taken non-consensually underground by, if we say, Pluto or Hades, depending on what area that you listen to in terms of the mythology. And I don't proclaim to be a huge understanding in it. It's just purely through my reading into it. And ultimately, it's this non-consensual abuse of power, how money, power, sex, and control are all interlinked, and how it's been misused over thousands of years. And it was really being shown how this non-consensual misuse of power is actually going to start to coming up through us in our individual lives, and also then out into the collective, because we aren't separate. We see ourselves as separate, but ultimately we are energetic beings living on these energetic planes and interacting and interconnecting. So it then showed me this victim, martyr, perpetrator energy, which is often how this misuse of power. So the victim is doesn't think they have any power. Whereas a martyr will tend to give their power away, whether they know about it or not, whether it's consciously or not. And that martyr may well have been a victim at some point. So there's a real disbelief of self-worth coming through. And it's about people acknowledging their value, that they have the power of choice, and to waken out of their subconscious patterning to understand that, and to ultimately create conscious choices of change, to understand who they are, what they're here for, and start to really value who they are. And we're seeing it again in ourselves, and it could be the smallest things of just going beyond our boundaries, what's healthy, giving away too much, or it could be on the flip side, you could be the perpetrator trying to control too much. And it's knowing that actually through our lives, through our soul lineage, we have been one or the other. We are like role playing in these lives. And I may lose you there, and that's fine. But if you're still listening to me, we are going through a huge transitioning process of shifting all our old shite that blocks us from being who we truly are and what we're really here to be. And we have to see it, and how I work through the body is the epigenetics, what we've inherited through our ancestral lineage, what we've inherited through our soul lineage, and where we've acted abusive, where we may have been the perpetrator, where we've been the victim, and this constant ping pong between the two, which ultimately only comes from the pattern that can only be broken is from awareness, and to create those conscious choices to change it, to bring in forgiveness, to forgive yourself, to forgive others, to see it on a soul level, to release, to not seek vengeance anymore. It's about seeking peace. And we are really being called up to break these old patterns that has us plagued and ingrained in fear. And I see it's two things, fear or love, ultimately. And when we can be more conscious as to why we're doing things and why we're thinking about things, we can start to make those conscious patterns of change. Do I choose to continue to feel this way? Do I want to feel fearful? Do I want to feel like a slave to money? Do I want to feel scarcity? Do I want to feel guilt and shame and not doing whatever really aligns to me, or not feeling like I can be what I want to be because I fear of how people are going to judge me? Or do you choose to act more in a joyful way and acting more into your desires and making those choices that serve you and serving others that serve you? It's just like finding those healthy boundaries, that interaction. So these little pieces that have been coming to me have really come forward as coming back now to the meditations, are to really hugely energetic moments and portals, shall we call it, to really decide where we're going. What do we want in life? Where do we want to be? Who do we want to be? What do we want to see the world as? And it's calling us to really step into our power, to know that we have power, to break out of that victim perpetrator cycle, to know that you have a voice, to know that you have a choice, and to work from it from a higher consciousness of heart consciousness, to be doing it that serves you and others to the highest good. And it's really seeing what is the energy and the intention behind our thoughts and behind our intentions and our actions. So these portals, these activation visualization journeys where I take you into the body, because it's really, really, really important to be in your body. We can't be up here. This is where all the problems happen, basically. We need to be in the wisdom of our body. So the meditations and journeys that I do are about connecting you and grounding you into your body, because there's science is seeing it. There's lots of energy coming our way. We're seeing fifth dimensional forces coming through, affecting muons, the atoms and neurons, which will be affecting us because we're energetic beings. We're seeing light frequencies being directed to Earth, coming out of something that shouldn't even be what we would see, wouldn't even be generating energy and light. So there's many things that are going on that we can't understand. And sometimes we have to come into a space of acceptance without the understanding, to allow it to pass through the mind and into the body, because the body will know. And this is a sense of feeling, of knowing without the understanding, but you just know it. And we are being guided even more to come into our bodies, to understand, to find our truth and who we are. With AI coming out, it's a never level of what is the truth. It's not what we get told. It's not what we get shown. It's what we feel inside us. And we're being guided to keep finding that truth that's within us. And we can only do that when we are in our bodies. And trauma, stress takes us out of our body. Pain, disease is all about the body trying to can reconnect with you. And this is the work that I do. Yet it's connecting your soul, your levels, the fragments of you into your body. And these meditations, these visualization journeys will support you into doing that. And the 12th is on a new moon in Sagittarius. And this is really about, where do you aim your bow? Where are you going in your life? And I have been shown it as a square, the number 4. And it's really about setting your foundations as to where you want to be for the next 4 years. So it's quite big. It's kind of like, which energetic chain do you want to follow? Is it fear or is it love? Is it joy? Is it peace? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it disempowered or is it empowered? It's really about you choosing which line you wish to go from that point forwards to the next 4 years. So the 12th is about really acknowledging that. And when you seek that, when you make that conscious choice, your body and your energetics will highlight to you what is blocking you from being that. So it's the subconscious mind that's playing out for 99% of our time, of our thoughts. So it's about it's connecting into your subconscious mind to re-coordinate what you choose, and your unconscious body that you're carrying through the epigenetics of humanity. And it's been very clear, this square, the 4, if you add up the whole dates, the 12th or the 12th, 2023, and vice versa, 21st or the 12th, 2023, it's 4. So it's really an opportunity to be very, very clear where you're going. And then the 21st, it's like, again, that sowing of the seed. So the 12th is making the decision, clearing out all the crap that is blocking you from that. And the 21st is like setting the seed down. What seed are you going to plant? Is it going to be a whole load of weeds that you're going to have to tender for, like, ages, because they just keep growing back? Or do you set the specific seeds that what you wish to create? And the space in between, I'll be having a Facebook group, so you can I'll be dropping in with self-care, because it's really important, because this huge amount of energy can really disturb our central nervous system. We can feel quite discombobulated. We can feel quite all over the place. We can have a lot of mental stress, and it's about being able to navigate that really deeply into your body and have your heart as your compass. So, and the return to innocence comes from these visualizations and meditations that I have been doing for myself, is where it's the dark feminine. So she takes no shit, okay? She literally consumes fear for breakfast. There is no fear. I mean, imagine life with no fear, what you would do. and what you would do after listening to this. What would you do if you had no fear? And she literally just consumes fear. And this is where I might lose you and think I might be on La La Land, but there's this real vision of this mounting, this dark feminine who takes no nonsense but is very composed. And she's connected into the earth, and the earth starts falling apart. It's kind of opening up. And this is when the elementals and these dragons are coming up. So it's real fire and strength and power that's coming through it, but with the right compassion energy, not to control others, but to empower. And I have Melchizedek. Now he is part of the 12th dimension. He's to talk about the great brotherhood. He comes up into the Old Testament, and the essence of how I can explain it without sounding like I've been on some magic mushrooms is the earth has held 12,000 odd years ago, which is kind of links into where they talk about the ancient apocalypse, where, Atlantis fell, where massive meteorites or snakes in the sky were seen that caused this great flooding. And at that point, something happened. There was a misuse of this feminine energy coming back to the Persephone, this maiden energy. And it wasn't used to how it should be to the highest good. And that's what caused this catalytic effect of destruction of the earth. Well, not the earth, but in terms of the massive flooding and hugely destructive. And somewhere along those lines is that there's something that's been held, that when somebody acts abusive to somebody else, they can never take that soul. They can never take that light from the other person. It's a fruitless task. I mean, the other person may feel completely gone, spirit left, depleted, yet it was never taken, could never be taken away. So what it actually happened was it went immortalized into the earth. And this is what I've seen Persephone as, is this immortalization of earth. And she's pure. And it's the releasing of this. And I have seen these fragments of our souls that, like an explosion, we just came, what you could call past lives. There's explosions of fragments of our soul about coming back to us. So when there's been these acts of abuse throughout our different incarnations, it's been held within the earth. And these fragments of us are coming back to us when we're heart conscious, when we're living in heart conscious and conscious of our actions and what we're doing each moment. And these are returning. So it's like this, it's the return of innocence. It's like these golden souls, fragments coming back up from the earth to be returned to us as souls, as beings. And it's like a molten, the gold that becomes molten, that liquidizes and connects again. And if you're old like me with the Terminator, where he melts and then comes back again, it's kind of all those little parts of themselves coming back together. That is what is happening for us when we choose to. And these are what these portals, these return to innocence, the 12th, and the 21st, the 12th, is what is being shown to me. That's how I'm perceiving that. And I just simply wanted to share that. And also the black holes. There's a black hole, the white hole, and how the black hole is the energy that consumes and nothing supposedly comes ever out again. And it gets to the event horizon. So I'm being really shown that, but also the white hole, when nothing comes in, yet comes out. So the white hole and the black hole are like yin and yang. Yet because of that, they can become part of each other. So the white hole can go within the black. And how this is coming through to me is actually this black hole is like surrendering our ego, surrendering our fears, releasing them, surrendering to death, as it were, the fear of death, and surrendering what we believe who we are, our identity of what we think we are, and trusting that you will come through it, but in a different way. And it is surrendering to the illusion of fear. So the meditations, the visualizations will be a supportive journey of that, and to help start changing the cellular, our energetic vibrations to this, to start to consume and break down fear, our belief patterns of who we think we are, of our lack of self-worth, and just starting to release us from this social conditioning so we can be our true selves, to see our true power and who we really are to be in this world. So I hope, if you're still listening, thank you so much. And but I hope this makes sense. And if this is feeling to you and you're getting the numbers of 1212, 2112, or often other numbers that just mirroring each other all the time, so 1221, or you're getting 1717, lots of 1331, if you're seeing reflections of numbers, repeating patterns, I would suggest that this would be a synchronicity, a sign to say 1212 and the 21st of the 12th is something very key for you to join. So if this is resonating with you, if there's a part of you that you're just feeling there isn't there, you're stuck, or you want to move forward, you want to see a change in your world, not your world, but the outer world, if there's a part of you that wants to be a leader of change, to start shifting things and to be more empowered, then this may well be for you. Okay, so I'm going to drop in the link so you can purchase on the Infinity Health Hub, and I'd love you to join me. Okay, and I hope this has made sense, but ultimately, just know you don't need to know the full picture, and we don't always have to understand to accept, and just hold a little bit more self-compassion on this journey and try and find it with a little bit more curiosity. Okay, so lots of love. Thank you for listening. See you soon.